those who don't know me, my name is Abrah Arneson, and this is The Weaving, Plants, Planets, and People. And this is a story from The Weaving. And I thought it would be a good story for equinox because it's about entering the darkness and overwintering and then returning in the spring, and how we can journey into the darkness and emerge in the spring with new gifts to offer the world, right? Because that's what you do with gifts, you give them away. So I'm gonna read the story. I'm gonna play a PowerPoint with pictures to go along so you won't be bored, or you can just lay down on your couch and listen, or lay in your bed and listen, or on the floor, or wherever you are and listen. I am recording this evening, so I will share this recording tomorrow morning, maybe even this evening if I, sort of depends on how the evening goes. And at the end, I hope we have a short period for question, answers, comments, concerns, complaints. The complaint department will be open for about like 2 minutes. And so get them in there quick. And so let's start this journey with our brave Ukrainian herbalist. Just a side story, when I was in school, there was a gentleman there who was a Ukrainian dermatologist, a medical doctor who specialized in dermatology, and he worked mostly with herbs in his practice, and he was in our school, so he could have some kind of paper saying that he had studied in Canada. But I was so grateful to him because this was a guy that had so much knowledge and had used plant medicine for a long time in a clinical setting. So that was really exciting to me. And so I always have sort of a soft spot in my heart for Eastern European herbalists. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let me screen share back to that amazing owl. And I'm going to just shrink this. Okay, so the moon, mugwort, and women who fall in holes. Okay. Now I have to multitask. Okay. During the first days of May, mugwort, a plant ruled by the moon, appears inconveniently in the garden where calendula, a plant beloved by the sun, grows. Mugwort's shoots emerge from the damp garden soil and into the light of spring, twisting like snakes, awakening after a long winter of dreams. A common wayside weed, mugwort is not particularly welcome in gardens. Herbalists prefer mugwort to grow wild along fence lines or at the edge of undomesticated fields where the trees begin to grow taller and forests start to take shape. Mugwort really could care less about what gardeners or herbalists want. This wily plant will seed itself into the most domestic, carefully manicured places, and like threads of a disturbing dream weaving itself into morning's light, mugwort never quite goes away once it's made itself known. Mugwort is a dreamer's plant. It is a friend to those who like to explore beyond fence lines, wayside places, and the edges of forests. It is a plant that cultivates dreams. As I prepare to write about mugwort, I ask mugwort to appear in a dream and teach me what I can learn. For many years, I have watched my dreams and the dreams of others, trying to tease out the meanings of these peculiar nighttime wanderings. Often, when asked a question I cannot answer is pressed upon me, I ask for a dream to shine its unearthly light and guide me onto a new path of understanding. Some people call this dream incubation. The first thing I do to incubate a dream is clarify my question or concern and write it down. For example, if I'm concerned about a client, I may write down a question about her underlying health challenge, or perhaps ask for guidance on what herbs to use. By the way, I did this last night for a horse. A friend of mine's horse is really sick, and so I asked for a dream about a horse. And I had this dream of horses eating thistles, and I thought, of course, thistle medicine. So anyways, it really works. Like this is a real tool herbalists have used for centuries and centuries. So, okay. Before bed, I politely and with humility ask for a dream and repeat the question 3 times silently to myself. Then I take 30 drops of mugwort tincture. As I lie in bed waiting for sleep to arrive, I open myself up to the client and sense how her body feels as illness winds its way through her flesh and mind. I imagine placing different herbs over her body and try to become aware of the subtle energy shifts the plants create in my body, feeling her body. Then I sleep and dream. In the morning, when I wake, I ask, where was I? And let the scattered dream images emerge. Once the images have gathered together, I feel them in my body. Lastly, I write them down in my dream journal, and I do this for 3 nights as I seek clarity. On the first night, I asked for a dream about mugwort's medicine. I dreamt I poured feverfew flowers in a great crevice in a mountain. Feverfew, besides being a traditional plant used to control fever, is a plant known to ease migraine pain. More recent research shows it's an antimicrobial plant that crosses the blood-brain barrier. It also contains some anti-cancer properties. On the second night, I dreamt of wild ginger creeping through the garden. Wild ginger is a shy plant with an exotically seductive flower. It prefers to grow next to rotting logs. Wild ginger warms cold bodies and minds. It was once called snake root. On the third night, I found myself standing in a church next to a baptismal font. This is the place in the church where brides take deep breaths before walking down aisles. Mourners adjust their clothes and pull themselves together, and newborns are hushed before their baptism. As I pulled open the heavy door of the inner church, a figure greeted me. His face and body were painted orange, white, and black. The few clothes he wore were orange and black. His wild black hair was adorned with feathers. Feathers stuck out from stripes of clothing tied around his arms, wrists, and ankles. He was untamed. He danced. It was a rhythmic, undulating dance. He circled me, singing in a low, guttural voice. As he danced, light began to fill my body, green light. When he stopped dancing, I began. Fluid waves of light flowed from my spinning body as I made my way towards the altar. I know this is Mugwort's dream, and I wake up. Sitting up in my bed, my dog Lily on the floor beside me snoring. I see the sheets crumpled where Mark has been and the laundry folded on the dresser ready for me to put away. I think, how can this be real? Dreams challenge everyday timelines and distort consensual meanings when allowed to linger in morning's light. Stories can be like that too. Like dreams, stories can alter everything we thought we knew. For some, Stories about girls falling in holes after alter everything. Like the story told by the old Ukrainian woman wearing a red kerchief over her gray hair, neatly tied under her chin as she hangs mugwort to dry. This story goes like this. A long time ago, a young girl went into an old oak forest searching for mushrooms to fill her basket. As she wandered, a strange looking root caught her attention. Curious, she crept closer to the root, and as she bent to get a better look, she saw the strange root was a nest of snakes. Horrified, she stepped backwards and fell in a hole. It was the hole where the snakes lived. It was dark in the hole, and hissing sounds filled the dank air. Around her ankles, the girl could feel the snakes slithering as their forked tongues tasted her skin. The girl froze in terror. Just as she was about to collapse in a faint, from deep inside the darkness of the hole, a shimmering glow appeared. As the glow brightened, it came nearer. The girl could see it was an undulating light, like the light of the full moon on a still lake. The glow was the golden horned queen of snakes. The queen of snakes comforted the girl and led her and the snakes to a luminous stone in the center of the hole. The snakes licked the stone, and their hunger was satisfied. Seeing this, the girl licked the stones as well, and her fear disappeared. For a long, cold winter, the girl, under the protection of the queen, lived as the snakes lived, deep down in the dark hole with the luminous stone that fed and satisfied them all. When the days grew longer and the earth began to warm, the snakes prepared to return to the surface of the world. Knowing the girl would need their help to climb from the hole, the snakes interlaced their bodies, forming a ladder for her. As the girl said her goodbyes and turned to climb the ladder, the queen of snakes blessed her with the gift of understanding the language of plants. Knowing the language of plants empowered the girl with the gift of plant medicine. However, the queen warned, never speak the name Chernobyl or you will lose the gift forever. Chernobyl, by another name, is Mugwort. In Ukrainian, Chernobyl means the dark one. The girl carried her gift from the queen of the snakes for a very long time. She cared for the plants cared for her. She healed many people, and her fame as a herbalist spread far and wide until one day, as she walked along a path, a man asked her, "What is the name of this plant?" "Oh," she said, "Chernobyl," and her gift vanished. Old Ukrainian women say this is how mugwort acquired its other's name, the herb of forgetfulness. Forgetfulness is a kind of hole memory slides into. Have you ever noticed that there are many stories of girls falling in holes? There is the Germanic story of Frolhole, who welcomes into her cottage an obedient pretty girl after she falls down a well. After the obedient girl cleans Frolhole's house and cooks her food, Frolhole blesses the obedient girl with gold. When a lazy, ugly girl falls into the same hole and is not as quick to please Frolhole, as the obedient girl, Frohol curses her by pouring black sticky tar over her head. Alice in Wonderland follows a rabbit down a hole and has many bewildering adventures. Alice's bizarre journey comes to an end when the Queen of Hearts, in a blind fury, throws all her cards at Alice, and the girl startles awake. One of the most famous falls is that of Persephone. Persephone, a goddess in waiting, the daughter of Demeter, the great Greek goddess of the grain, was sweet with beauty and tenderness. When Hades, the god of the underworld, caught a glimpse of Persephone's innocence, he had to have her. Hades confided his desire to Zeus, who was an expert at snatching young women. Together, they planned Persephone's abduction to the underworld, the realm of Hades. There are two versions in this story. In one, Hades and Zeus cause a huge schism to open in the earth into which Persephone falls. In another, she is seduced by the sweet scent of flowery narcissus. When she pulls the flower from the ground, a hole is left behind that grows bigger and bigger. Wide-eyed in horror, Persephone freezes as earth thunders with galloping hooves of Hades' chariot rising from the underworld. Persephone screams, and into the hole she falls. Or was she dragged? Persephone, like our herbalist in the hole with snakes, does something the Celts say you should never, ever do if you find yourself falling in a hole. Never, ever eat or drink any drink. If you do, you will spend the rest of your life in the other world of the hole. Persephone eats 6 blood-red pomegranate seeds while down in Hades. It is only through her mother's stubborn refusal to accept her daughter's fate of living the rest of her life in the underworld that a deal was struck. The deal Demeter, Persephone's mother, makes is her daughter will be by her side on the sunny side of the earth for 6 months of the year. The other 6 months, Persephone is destined to be the queen of the underworld. As the queen of the underworld, Persephone is feared and shunned as winter. During the 6 months above ground, Persephone is welcomed as spring. So right now, we're seeing in really old mythology, the underworld is also the world of the plants. And so right now we see like Persephone could easily represent the plants because right now the plants are returning to the underworld. And then when plants come up out of the ground, we say they're crowning. And I always think of that crown coming up is Persephone's crown. But anyways, that's an aside. That's not the story. So back to the story. This is one of my favorite parts of the story. There are creation stories from all over the world that tell of women falling through holes in the sky and seeding life on earth. Mugwort's family name, Artemisia, comes from one such goddess, Artemis of Ephesus. In a flash of brilliance, Artemis tumbled to earth, bringing with her life. Today, astrophysicists hypothesize she was a meteor, a rock from Jupiter that blazed across the sky, crashing to earth. In either case, to the ancients, Artemis was a goddess who fell through a hole in the sky. Artemis of Ephesus was the sacred goddess of the Amazons, a matriarchal culture that thrived across North Africa around the same time as the ancient Greeks told stories of Persephone. Amazonian women were the first to wear pants, ride horses, and go into battle alongside men. They did not cut off their left breast to be better archers. This is a Greek myth. The Amazonian women were the Greeks' enemies. The women who turned to Artemis for guidance tattooed significant passages on their skin, smoked cannabis, and loved bonfires. They had sex with partners of their choice, and in their culture, parenting was a community responsibility. In Turkey, there is a copy of a wooden statue of Artemis of Ephesus from the 1st century AD, with arms opening wide, offering an embrace. Her skirt is carved with many animals. Her many breasts are full with boundless nourishment. Artemis's necklace is a swirl of signs of the zodiac, and a snake entwines her hair. Artemis of Ephesus predates the Greek goddess Artemis. The Greeks called their Artemis the goddess of the woods. They told stories of a stubborn, irrational woman who refused to be seduced by a man. Artemis of Ephesus, however, was not opposed to sex. She did, however, prefer it to be consensual and encouraged women to retain their personal power even in intimate relationships. The Amazonians, under Artemis's guidance, initiated girls at menarche by sending them into the forest in order to learn to dance like a bear. A girl could not lie with a man until she embodied the power of the bear. The interesting thing about girls falling in holes is some return with superpowers, like our dear Ukrainian herbalist, or Persephone, or the pretty obedient girl. Others are shamed, like the lazy girl. Some are dismissed as silly girls telling fanciful tales, like Alice. Most girls and women who fall down holes become stories barely remembered until they are forgotten. Why is this so? Let's think about falling in a hole. Holes are dark. There is no external light. Being in a hole is like being enclosed in a very long, dark night. On long, dark nights, unseen things prowl and slither. Things are done in the dark and tucked away into shadows, never to be seen by the light of day. Crimes take place in the dark. Thieves take their bounty in the dark. Witches dance in the dark. Magic happens in the dark. Dreams arrive in the dark. When life becomes dark, good friends tell us morning always comes. But that is not the case for all girls who fall into holes. Some are trapped. These girls must find the light that arrives before morning, or they will continue on in the dark, befuddled and confused, pulled this way and that way, depending on the desire ripening in the shadows. You may be thinking the moon lights up the night's darkness. But moonlight is unreliable. It comes and goes as time passes. If a girl falls in a hole during the dark moon, there will be no moonlight to guide her. There is another light in the night, a light we barely notice, a light we rarely remember. During the long, dark night, there is always dream light. Dream light unveils worlds never imagined. Dream light illuminates spiraling staircases descending deep beneath ancient fortresses made from stone. Dream light shines on cliff and falls into endless blue sky. In dreamlight, wallets are lost and jewels are found. From dreamlight steps, enchanting dark lovers. Or we have tea with the long dead. In dreamlight, flowers talk, and anyone can grow whiskers and lounge on tree branches, watching butterflies, or run with coyotes, yipping and yapping. Anything is possible in dreamlight, like learning the medicine of every plant ever known from the queen of snakes. Where does the wise light of dreams come from? No one really knows. Some biologists, however, are beginning to wonder if dreams or dreamlight shines from the pineal gland. About the size of a grain of rice, the pineal gland sits in the middle of your brain, slightly to the left. In the ancient healing tradition called Qigong, this area of the brain is called the crystal palace. Qigong masters teach that within the crystal palace there is a moon. They say the light from this inner moon guides us when darkness overcomes our journey. Many theorize that the pineal gland is the inner moon. Inside the pineal gland, there are microcrystals made from the stone calcite. Calcite creates the glow of stalagmites deep inside caves. Calcite shimmers the rainbow sheen on mother of pearl and offers pearls their soft white glow. Calcite, pearls, mother of pearls are all ruled by the moon. Scientists describe the potential of calcite's actions within the pineal gland as these crystals could be responsible for the electromagnetical biological transduction mechanism in the pineal gland due to their structure and piezoelectric properties. Translated into common language, when there is friction or pressure within the pineal, an electrical charge is created by the calcite crystals, creating light. Think of moonlight on a bitter cold January night weaving through the trees of the forest, casting dark blue shadows, and you will have a sense of calcite's glow. Judy Hall of the Crystal Bible describes the attributes of calcite this way. Calcite is a powerful amplifier and cleanser of energy. Simply having calcite in the room cleanses negative energy from the environment and heightens your energy. Within the body, it removes stagnant energy. The spectrum of colors cleanse the physical and subtle bodies. Calcite is an active crystal speeding up development and growth. This is a spiritual stone linked to the higher consciousness that facilitates the opening of higher awareness and psychic abilities, channeling, and out-of-body experiences. It accelerates spiritual development and allows the soul to remember experiences when it returns to the body. Kind of sounds like dreams to me. The pineal gland secretes hormones tuned to darkness. One of these hormones is melatonin. Melatonin brings healing sleep. Taking a melatonin supplement often enhances dreams, both healing and disturbing. Another hormone the pineal gland releases is dimethyltryptamine, commonly referred to as DMT. This is not a very well understood hormone. It's about as well understood as girls who fall in holes, or how the moon affects plants in the human psyche. Some people call this hormone the God chemical or the Big Bang because it shows up in a big way at the 4 major portals in life: labor and birth, orgasm and death. Well, these are all times when stories are told about seeing the light. New life growing in a woman's womb is gently infused with DMT, suggesting life forms in the light of dreams. Small amounts of DMT are also released each night as we enter sleep's darkness. Let's return to our brave Ukrainian herbalist and take a closer look at her story. She is looking for mushrooms. Now, we all know in the old days, the forest was the place where wolves hunted little girls. What was our girl doing in the forest by herself? This we do not know. What we know is she is vulnerable, innocent, and curious. She is collecting mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms we need to wonder? Psilocybin, a favored magical mushroom used to access alternative perceptions of reality, trigger the release of DMT from the pineal gland. In traditional medicine circles around the world, mushrooms like psilocybin are used to guide you on healing journeys, to rediscover lost wisdom, and disconnect from imposed belief systems that limit your life experience. These journeys to other realities are like dreams, only more vivid. The journeys can take you deep into the great web of life to experience directly the threads that bind people to animals, to plants, to water, clouds, sun, moon, all of life. There are over 200 different types of mushrooms known to trigger the release of DMT in the pineal gland and offer healing experiences of life's great weavings. Had our gentle herbalist heard stories of mysterious mushrooms around the evening fire? Was she feeling curious about the wonders bestowed upon those who nibbled on mushrooms? Had she taken a tiny bite of a mushroom just before the stick turned into a snake? I have to wonder if her pineal gland activated, opening her to realities that offer gifts to the brave of heart. Our herbalist watches the branch turn into a snake and falls down the hole. For me, the thought of being in a dark hole, hungry snakes hissing around my feet is, to say the very least, terrifying. Magic, a shift in perception, often happens during intensely stressful moments. This is when the life transforming magic happened to our herbalist. A shimmering glow appeared, like moonlight softening darkness as it appears from behind clouds, or like tinkling calcite crystals turning on the moonlight that shines from within. After licking the mysterious stone, luminous like a pearl, our herbalist fear disappears along with hunger, and she lives with confidence among the snakes and learns their way. She trusts her inner moonlight. And so she spends the winter in a den of snakes. When spring returns, like Persephone's ascent from the underworld, our herbalist climbs into the light of spring, but not before receiving a gift. And what a magnificent gift! The sacred language of plants. In some cultures, becoming a herbalist is a path of initiation. This is different from the education. This is entirely different form of education from academic learning. Our wise herbalist's journey into the snake's den was an initiation that not only awakened her inner moon, but also taught her how to understand the language of dreams and plants. The snakes, guardians of the medicine of transformation, initiated our herbalists into the healing arts. Snakes, with their unblinking eyes and shedding skin, have long been considered great masters of plant medicine. Ancient healers and dreamers from the Asclepius tradition in ancient Greece sought dreams of snakes to guide them in the use of healing plants to cure diseases of the body, mind, and soul. Remnants of Asclepius's wise snake are still seen today in the caduceus used as an emblem of doctors and pharmacists. Some traditions believe that it is only after one dreams of a plant and its medicine that one is qualified to practice herbal medicine. The dream initiates you into a deeper understanding of the plant's medicine beyond its phytoconstituents and into its place in the great web of life. Initiation is a very different type of teaching than academic learning. Academic learning is not necessarily focused on direct understanding. It is possible in academic circles to know all the current scientific studies of a plant and have never seen the plant in the wild or in the garden. Academic learning comes from books and people, not plants. Initiation is different. It is secret. The knowledge of initiation is closely guarded. It is only offered when asked. Oops, we have a cat walking across the computer. Okay, there we go. Lucy.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, and now we have Siri talking. Okay, Siri. Okay, yes, Lucy, you need to get down. Okay, sorry about the interruption. Okay, where were we? Often the asking for initiation needs to be done in a particular manner. Sometimes the seeker of knowledge must make an offering or ask several times before the steps of gaining knowledge are offered. In initiation, knowledge does not come from outside oneself, but from within. It arrives when the inner moon shines and one connects with the web of life. In plant medicine, knowledge comes from understanding the language of plants, a language without words. Everything changes with initiation, while everything remains the same. Initiation is not for cream puffs or those in a hurry. It is for the brave of heart, recklessly curious, and as a last resort. Initiation arrives when the niggle in your heart that says there's more to plant medicine than words and books, or for that matter, more to life than you've been told, grows into a desperate longing for connection. Initiation can be dangerous and demands respect. For this reason, it remains secret. Sorry. Okay, you guys, we're going to take a pee break because Lucy here, my little sweet Lucy, is like crawling everywhere, and I'm just going to put her out, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, now where were we? We were getting initiated. Okay, back to screen share. Oops. What did you do, Abrah? Okay. Okay. Following initiation, you know the medicine you carry arrived through hardship. You know your medicine is a gift, a cherished guest carried in your heart. It is not something to boast about or wear as a persona. After initiation, medicine is alive, shining in the inner glow of dreams. Medicine needs to be nourished, cared for, loved, kept sacred, or it is lost And as our young herbalist climbs from the den of snakes, she is given a crevet. You must not name the dark one. The dark one is our humble wayside weed, mugwort. The underside of mugwort's leaves carries the signature of the moon. They are soft, gentle white like moonlight. Mugwort does not flash the soft white underside of her lush green growth to any passerby. You must touch mugwort's leaves and gently turn them over to see their moon medicine. Mugwort is the dreamer's herb. According to the online site, The World of Lucid Dreaming, mugwort has been used for over 1,300 years in rituals to guide ones in dreaming. Those who use mugwort for dreaming say if you cannot recall your dreams, mugwort will enhance your dream recall. If you dream in black and white, mugwort will bring color to your dreams. If you do not understand language in your dreams, mugwort will create understanding. If you cannot steer your dreams, mugwort will put you in the driver's seat. If you can steer your dreams, mugwort will make anything possible. Mugwort has an earthly scent created by sesquiterpenes. Sesquiterpenes are called phytoconstituents, and some speculate it is they that act on the pineal gland. These musty, dank smelling chemicals trigger the cascade of hormones, leading to the release of melatonin and DMT, activating the calcite crystals, light deep inside your brain. I prefer to think of mugwort's affinities to dreams as something we'll never be able to name with words. Just as initiation can never be explained to the uninitiated, and a plant's medicine transcends its individual chemicals, or how stories of herbalists in snake dens awaken our imagination. It is springtime, the time of renewal, and our herbalist climbs out of the hole at peace with her inner moonlight. She knows all the medicine of all the plants, and she carries with her a warning not to be careless with this knowledge. For several years, she journeyed through life as a herbalist, sharing her healing gifts from the snakes. One day, she tells a man the name of the dark one. The gift leaves her, and mugwort takes on the name Herb of Forgetfulness. This is, to me, is even more frightening than a snake pit. Forgetting all herbal knowledge, forget losing my connection to plants and all the people I know through plants would be devastating. How could our herbalist be so careless? We need to try to understand what happened on the path the day our herbalist lost her medicine. Let's return to a time when the sun did not mark time. It was the moon and the night sky humans turned to for guidance when choosing the right time to hunt and gather, plant and harvest, make medicine and give medicine, make babies and marriage. At this time, all over the world, there was a great tree. We are going to visit the Northern European great tree, Yggdrasil. A very long time ago, people living where the snow was deep and wolves howled on long winter's night did not see the Milky Way sweeping across the night sky. They gazed upon an ancient tree swaying in the wind. Some called night's starry arch the wind-swept tree, and the sky the wide hand basins of the wind. The Norse, Northern European, called this tree Yggdrasil. There are many stories of Yggdrasil, as with all old stories spiraling through time, they are fiddled with. Some parts are added, some parts are omitted. Stories shift and change shape to suit the politics and temperament of the storyteller, and the king. This happened to Yggdrasil's stories. Yggdrasil's story is like a dream one can only recall in bits and pieces, hints of meaning here and there, fragments. Yggdrasil's story, at one time a vast tale, can now only bring glimpses into our Northern European ancestors' insights into birth, death, light, life, ancestors, giants, healing, war, and sacrifice. The fragment of Yggdrasil's story we will unravel is of wise women, the moon, a well, and snakes. Yggdrasil's upper branches reach high into the heavens beyond ordinary sight. They are covered in clouds. Yggdrasil's roots burrow deep into the underworld. There is a well where the roots emerge from the tree's mighty trunk. The well is described as a reservoir of ancient being, fed by a living spring. Its surface ripples and rolls with power and consciousness. Within it resides the unfathomable secret of the beginning of life, deeply hidden. Every night, three sisters called the Fates leave the hall of the moon, the area of the sky where the moon roams, and sits by the well. The youngest is Verdani, becoming. The middle is called Skuld, shall be, and the oldest is Erd, became. The well is named after Erd. It is called Urbuni. Some people call the three sisters the weavers, for every night they sit by the well, twisting, braiding, knotting the threads of fate. The sisters weave the delicate, complex, unfathomable web of life that contains all life, not only here on our beloved blue planet, but across the universe. When the sisters are not weaving, they are pouring water from the well over the starry tree's roots. The healing water trickles over the great tree's roots, offering a balm to any rot that may weaken their sturdy stance in the underworld. This is important, for if rot spreads and the roots decay, Yggdrasil will fall and all life will end. Why do the roots need healing every night? A great snake lives entwined within the roots. The snake is consumed with hunger and seeking satisfaction gnaws on Yggdrasil's roots. Its hunger causes gashes, splits, and tears in the roots, threatening chaos. This is the chaos that makes human hearts quiver with fear, and dark questions emerge from the shadows of uncertainty. Is the end near? The water the fates pour over the roots offer the blessings of life. It is said that all the water touches become holy. The water is translucent white, like the inner membrane of an egg, the skin over the eye of a snake after it's been shed, or a pearl's glow. Some of this holy water falls to earth as morning dew. The old ones call this falling nectar sprinkled over the earth at sunrise, honeydew. They teach it is a nourishing, healing drink that will never diminish. I love this time of year for the thick dew on the grass. Like you go out and your feet are just soaked. I just love this time of year for the dew. Anyways, back to the story. To me, the waters of Erd sound like the light of the full moon. It is said bathing naked in the light of the full moon will cure all harms, both diseases and curses, as the three sisters, the great weavers of fate, bless you with moon's sweet nectar. This story was told in a time when people gathered to dance in the full moonlight, naked. They danced to celebrate life and honor the loving glow of the moon, no different from the glow of their own inner moon. They danced to heal, to bless, to conceive, to grieve. They danced the many threads of life the sisters endlessly weave. They danced in the light hidden to those who only see light on the outside of their skin. Most of the dancers were like our herbalist women. Sometime along the way, dancing in moonlight became sinful, nakedness shameful, and moonlight lost its healing glow. The moon became the light of madness, depravity, and wayward women. It was probably around the same time Ukrainian girl lost. Our Ukrainian herbalist told the man the name of the wayside weed and forgot her medicine. There is a contemporary herbalist who tells this story and at the end says, Mugwort is called the Herb of Forgetfulness because sometimes it's helpful to forget. But I do not believe this is true. When we forget, we forget. When we forget our dreams, something inside us dies. When we forget our path, our joy, the hunger for remembrance lies like a snake twisting in our roots, gnawing at our sense of belonging. When we forget our medicine, we forget the hardships and wisdom initiation brings. When we forget who we are lost. Offering a dance in the moonlight to the three sisters is asking for gifts only they can give. The gift of remembering, the gift of knowing, and the gift of prophecy. To dance in the moonlight is a metaphor for dreaming. To know the secret language of dreams is to fall into Urd's well and journey into the moonlight, deep down Yggdrasil's roots, plunging deep into the underworld of initiation, or soar high into the branches to be greeted by ancestors. Mugwort shines the light on your inner moon dance. Sip a cup of mugwort tea before bed, and slowly, over time, you will become as wise as the moon shining in the night. Well, there you go. I hope that wasn't too long and to listen to. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Oh, I have new glasses. I'm getting used to them. Well, thanks, Carla. Any questions? Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, Carrie, no worries. I'm going to mail this. Does anyone have any questions, comments, or does the story remind you of anything, sort of evoke anything within you? I'm always very interested in that. No questions, comments, concerns? It's always really interesting. Now I have to refocus my eyes. Glasses are just such a nuisance. So it's always interesting reading these stories again because clearly I've worked on them. I worked on them for a while, but I always kind of have a new sense of them. And when I was reading this afternoon, getting ready for this evening, I thought of Persephone again, and I thought, that whole pomegranate thing is the fertility thing, and it's like she awakened, the journey into the underworld is like puberty, her puberty, and she eats these pomegranate seeds that represent her fertility, and she became a woman, and and so there's this idea that women are happy, we're supposed to be happy, but we're not. We're also bitches, like it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have an inner bitch that comes out quite regularly. So, it's like that kind of like duality women live with, and everyone around them lives with as well. And that's, yeah, so I was thinking about like the hormonal cycle is a symbol of the hormonal cycle. The first phase, and then the second phase. So the estrogen dominant and the progesterone dominant phases. And the underworld is, after conception or after the egg is released. Yeah. So it was so balanced and wonderful introduction to the dark side of the year. Yeah, it really is. In the winter is so wonderful for dreaming, isn't it, Caroline? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Yeah, I agree. It's without that time in the winter, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I could do summer all the time. Yeah, great. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, the dark time and the snow and the moon. And I love the full moon in January. It's my favorite full moon. Yeah, thanks, Anne. Yeah, so there's a couple of things going on. I just want to share some really shameless self-promotion warning. So my dear friend Penelope Boudreau, and if you don't know Penny, she is like an amazing herbalist. She's a very different kind of herbalist than I am, but like I have a horse. I'm working with a horse right now, and Penny works a lot with animals. So I was on the phone to her today asking about like dosing for horses and what she thought about what I was thinking for this horse. She's just such a incredibly generous soul, and she loves plants so much. So Penny is going to start hosting a book club every 2 months, and about plant medicine, but also about ecology, and also about like she's telling me she's going to do one on trees, and maybe some like ideas of like books like women who run with the wolves and that type of thing. So it's really something kind of exciting and new. And so she chose my book, The Weaving, to be the first book of the book club. So that's October 7th at 7 p.m. And if you want the link, you have to go hello at Everything Herbal. And even if you can't do it, on the 7th, you might want to keep your eye on that to see what books she's recommending we read, because Penny's a big reader, a big thinker, and a big lover of plants. I'm going to be reading at the Wakefield Library on October 16th at 4 p.m. You can get tickets on Eventbrite, or also on my website. Check my website. And we can only have 25 people because of COVID restrictions. You don't need a passport because it's a library. Libraries, you don't need passports. And if you want your own copy of The Weaving, you can get it on Amazon. In Ottawa, you can find it at the Singing Pebble, or you can ask your independent bookstore to get yourself a copy order you a copy from Ingram Sparks. And just note, the books at the Ingram Sparks are cheaper than at Amazon. So I sort of did that for our independent bookstores, yes, because I love bookstores. So, yeah. Oh, I'm glad it really helped and made you feel refreshed. Okay, see you, Jane. Great, Carla. How do I feel having birthed my book? I feel I feel really good about it. I feel really good about the book. It's kind of like, you birth a child and then you say, this belongs to me. Like off the kid goes and has their life, and it's, you're kind of going, whoa, I can see me in there, but who is that? Like it's kind of like that, writing a book. You kind of have some ownership of it, but really it has its own life. And and I'm just like itching to get writing again, but I have a few more things to take care of. And then yes, Ingram Sparks and Anna, here, I'll just share that screen again. You can ask your local bookstores. Bookstores order from Ingram Sparks. That's where they get their big catalogs from and that. So they'll be familiar if you say Ingram Sparks. They'll be familiar with that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to writing again. So it feels good. Yeah. Yeah. Any writers here? Anyone writing right now? And I know Janet's a writer. And Glenda's a writer. And any other writers here? No other writers? Oh, Carolyn's a writer. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Sharon. Thanks. Well, it definitely brought a lot of light to me. It was a funny book. It was a funny book to write. Yeah. It was a very interesting journey. Yeah, when I was writing Mars, the Mars stories, and the Mars stories are pretty intense, you know. One is about the burning times. Well, they both are about the burning times. So it was pretty intense writing those chapters. And my husband, he booked me an Airbnb so I could go and write. I had to get out of the house. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know it's hard. Central and Pacific time. I know. I will send you a link for the recording. No worries. It should be recording. It should be recording. Yeah, it's recording. Yeah, nice, Carla. Well, you know, poems about plants. I've written lots of poems about plants. So yeah, more women writing about herbal medicine, definitely. You know, let's reclaim our tradition. It's a very female tradition. Let's reclaim it. Did you use to help you write the book? Well, I'm always taking herbs, Janet. You know, every day I'm taking some herbs. I have this herbal tea right here. Well, you know, I would use mugwort for dreaming. You know, I don't think I took any herbs specifically to write with. No, not really. I certainly yeah, no, and I stayed pretty straight. Like there was no cannabis, no alcohol or anything either, because I can't really. It really interrupts with my focus, my ability to focus. So I was pretty focused when I was writing, and yeah, maybe some mugwort and the herbs I always take, you know, which change up monthly. So no, not really. A lot of black tea with honey and milk. Some coffee. Coffee, one of my favorite herbs. Yeah. Good question though, Janet. Thanks. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, so I hope you take a look at Penny's book club site, seeing as you all love stories and books, and probably have a lot to offer a discussion. And yeah, get my book. If you like it, please drop me a line, let me know. Or if it resonates anything with you, like I love to hear how that book comes, what it does. Like one person was telling me how it reminded them of their grandmother, and she was born with a caul. It's over her, and yeah. So this is the book club. Everything herbal. And if you can't remember this or you don't have it written down, just send me an email and I'll send you the link. Yeah. So okay, beautiful evening. Thank you for listening. It was so generous. Your attention was so generous. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the ethereal time. I love in some ways one of my favorite months is November. It's so moody, and I just love that, like, turning in that kind of moodiness, and that quiet stillness before the winter arrives. Now I know some of you are in Alberta and you're thinking, holy smokes, November, we're in winter. Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons I came back east. So, okay. Bye, everybody. Have a good evening and have sweet dreams. And if you don't have sweet dreams, may they at least be interesting. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Mason with HerbRally. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and while you're at it, give us a subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you didn't know, HerbRally has a podcast. We have hundreds of episodes ranging from 60 seconds all the way up to 3.5 hours or so. We've got lectures, recorded lectures from conferences. We have narrated monographs, you name it. If you want to learn more, go ahead and go to herbrally.com/podcast or search for us in any podcast player, Spotify, iTunes, whatever player you use. If you want more herbal content, go ahead and check out this video or this video, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.